Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers. Now if you've ever wondered what kit you might need to conquer a 55km trail ultra or a day-long trail ultra basically, you've come to the right place, because in this video I'm going to walk you through my kit list for a 55km yomp around the Lake District at the Five Valleys Ultra that's coming up soon. Now from waterproof jackets to trail vest to shoes to socks, all that stuff, I'm going to give you a full list of the items I'm going to use for my ultra kit, along with the specific products that I've selected for the race. So you'll get a kit list and some recommendations. Most of them are tried and tested and trusted. I've also got a few newcomers that I'm testing during the race for videos coming up on the channel. But by the end of this vid, you'll be able to see what a full ultra kit list might look like and maybe get some inspiration for gear to add to your own race kit for race day. So let's get into it. First up then, a quick overview of the race and the challenge ahead for me. Well, the Five Valleys Ultra is part of a new race series that's now in its second year in the UK. It's organised by the Great Run team. You'll know them from runs like the Great North and Great South runs. Now this team have the ambition to create the UK's answer to the UTMB. It's designed to make trail running more accessible for all runners, and it follows the UTMB's multi-race format. Now there are 4 distances across the weekend: 180km 13 valleys, 110km 7 valleys, 55km 5 valleys, and a 22km 2 valleys. The valleys refer to the number of different distinct valleys that make up the Lake District. There's 13 in total, and you go and visit some of those. I'm going to take on the fully waymarked 55k, and that will visit 5 of the valleys in that national park, with the route starting at Waterhead, Ambleside, and finishing in Keswick. It's kind of the UK's answer to Chamonix. It's got that kind of feel. It's wonderful. It comes with 2,500 metres of elevation and a generous 19-hour cut-off. There are regular aid stations, including 3 feed stations along the way with hot food. The terrain will be steep and technical at times. Some of the races take in the trails that you might find on the famous Bob Graham round. The weather could be fierce. You're going to be up high at times. It's going to be windy and rainy potentially. I'm expecting this to be a stern test for someone who's much better on the flat than the ups and downs. Now for context, last year's winner ran the route in 5 hours. The last runner came in though in just under 16 hours. 184 people finished with less than a handful of DNFs. So it should be doable for most of us runners out there, even for the unacquainted. Now looking at the average times, I'd say I'm potentially looking at between 8 to 10 hours based on my ability. The scenery is going to be mind-blowing, I know that. This is a destination race for sure, and I'm really excited to do my first race in the lakes. Probably should have been there much sooner. It's taken me a while. It's been on my bucket list for ages to go and do this. So if it's on yours, there are still places available as well on the 22km 2 valleys, priced at £65, or you can look for next year's entries, which will open soon after this race is done. So into the kit then, and for the 55k race there's a very long obligatory kit list for this race, more comprehensive actually than I've encountered even for races in the Alps or the Dolomites. Yeah, it may feel a little OTT, but there's a lot of items on there. But we'll start with what I'm going to wear on the top. On top I'm going to have a cap to keep my big baldy head warm. That will likely be my unicorn kick it in the dick hat. I'm debating sunglasses. I think I'll wait on the weather, but if I do, I'll use my Tifosi Swick sunglasses, but I'm thinking I probably won't need them. It might be quite grey and drizzly. I'm going to pack a warm hat as an obligatory item, and that'll be this Thinsulate 40g beanie. When it comes to the t-shirt, I'm not going to overthink this one. I want a lightweight tee that'll add a bit of warmth but won't weigh me down, so I'm going to go for the T8 trail tee. So when it comes to a base layer, I don't know if you can still buy these, or at least Under Armour tends to update its gear all the time, so it's really quite hard to pin down the exact garment on their website for you. But I've been using the Under Armour Rush base layers for years. I've had 3 of them that I've kept for 5, 6, 7 years. I just know that they don't rub my nipples, which is real essential when you're out there. If you prefer to run cooler rather than warmer, they might be a little bit thick, but I prefer to be warm, and even when it's hot, I find these work in kind of hot conditions okay. They've got shiny soft fabric that stretches and flexes, it wicks pretty well, doesn't get too heavy when it's wet, but above all it really helps prevent chafed nipples. Now we also have to pack a long sleeve base layer and a mid layer as part of our obligatory kit, so I'm going to take this quite simple Salomon long sleeve base layer. Shiny, it's smooth, it's flexible, it's kind of quite loose, and I've also got this fleecy Grettir by 66 North mid layer, which is quite compact and small. It's very lightweight as well. The weather forecast says there's a really high chance of rain on race day, so I am packing a lightweight running jacket. It's not the most lightweight, but it's fully waterproof. This ASICS Fujitrail jacket It's a lightweight Pertex shield jacket. It's fully seam sealed, which is obligatory kit as well. There's a waterproof chest pocket. It stashes down into its own pocket and it will slot pretty easily into my running vest. And there's an adjustable hood if things get wet and really blowy, which they may well do, and that will come in handy. Now we also have to have an insulated Primaloft or wall jacket or gilet. So I'm going to take this Brooks gilet, which is bigger than I would like, but it's the only one I own. That's going to go in the pack as well. This is a shorter race, so I'm going to keep my carry as minimal as possible, though there is a hefty amount of obligatory kit, and as you've seen, some of those items are already quite big. It's going to make it a challenge to be super minimal. So I'm going to go with the Innovate Racepac 20 vest. It's not as light and minimal as some of the kind of Salomon Skin or S-Lab vests that are really racy, but this can definitely hold the kit that I need it to. It's a bit more robust. It's got a more prominent harness. I think that's going to hold that weight better. You've also got loads of stash space in this. Slots for 2 soft flasks up front. You've got one huge mesh front side drop pocket, which is great for all the kind of gloves and head torch and all that kind of stuff. Kit, gels, fuel. There's also a zippered pocket on the front, which will be good for stashing the phone. There's a built-in whistle here, which is another element of obligatory kit. It's not waterproof, so I'll dry bag up some of the kit that I need to keep dry inside it. I'll also plan to keep my fuel down, so I'll have a combination of stuff I'm going to eat immediately in the belt of the T8 shorts that I'll talk about later, and backup bits in this pack. And I'll do some transfers when I get to the aid stations. So on the bottom half, I've got a slightly maverick system that might not appeal to everyone, but I find this works really nicely for me. I wear some running boxers from CXP with a pair of trail shorts from Win that could be worn alone actually, but I like to add a third layer, which is another pair of shorts with the built-in belt. Now let's start with the shorts. I've got these T8 Sherpa shorts. I've been testing these lightweight twin trail shorts out recently when I ran the New Forest Marathon in them, and I'm a big fan of how light they feel. They're super light fabric. The main short fabric is really nice and stretchy, light and soft. The cut isn't too short and they work well with my other 2 layers. There's also a built-in belt, goes right around the top with loads of extra storage. Now most people won't need this layer, but I like the warmth and comfort and locked in feel that these Win Stride trail shorts provide. The fabric here on these is soft and comfortable. It's got a hugging fit, but it's really nice and flexible and stretchy, and I like that feeling that these give you, that everything is held and protected. They've got one stretch pocket in the back, 2 zippered pockets on the legs. They're ace for additional easy access storage. I used these on the Berlin Wall 100 as well, and at times they were a godsend when I ended up in an aid station and I wanted to quickly kind of temporarily stash my phone somewhere or a head torch or something without putting it on the ground. I've run really long days and long miles in these shorts and they've served me well. When it comes to the undies, I mentioned I've got these CXP Endurance briefs. I've mentioned these a bunch of times before on the channel, but when it comes to longer runs like 5 hours plus, where I want to feel like I more seriously reduce that chafe risk, or even eliminate undercarriage chafe risk, these boxer briefs are what I reach for. They are light, soft, they feel really lovely against the skin. The fabric is so sort of soft and thin, really, really stretchy. You've got waistbands that have got special sort of silicone that makes them stay put and don't add unwanted pressure around the waist. They're basically excellent for a sort of barely there comfort. Keep everything where it should be without the risk of the big red raw rub. The thin material also means that they'll sit nicely under those twin shorts and the other shorts, even if those shorts have a built-in liner themselves. When it comes to the socks, after the way they looked after me during the Berlin Wall 100 mile, there's only one way I can go with the socks of choice for this race, and that is the Win 5 running toe socks. I never used to be a toe sock person, but I do suffer from really bad toe-on-toe aggression, and after 22 hours of running at the Berlin Wall 100, my feet have never been in better shape than they were when I ran in with these socks. So there's good padding, they're a little thicker in all the right places, adding some comfort without being too heavy. The toes hold their shape too. There's decent ventilation in the right points around the toes so they don't get too hot. But what was crucially important for me was they seemed to prevent the worst of the damage that was happening to my little toes, where they sit sort of under each other, give a little bit more spread. So these are going back on for this race. Now, some other items of obligatory kit. For the bottom half, we need leggings and a pair of waterproof tape seam trousers. I'm doing a big test of leggings for Runners World as we speak. You'll be able to get that in a magazine out in a few months. Now, I've got new ones landing in the post every single day, so I'm going to choose which ones of those I take nearer the time. I don't actually own any taped seam waterproof trousers, so I am open to recommendations on those. I haven't got long to find some. Onto those all-important shoes then, and this one is kind of tried and tested, but also a bit unknown. Definitely on the list of kit that I'm going to be testing in real time here. These are the ASICS Metafuji Trail. I've run the New Forest Marathon them recently, and they did really well, but that was a flat, runnable course where these were good for kind of attacking that. What I'm keen to find out is if the Flight Foam Turbo carbon plate 4.5mm combo is any good when things get more testing, more steep and more technical, when you need a bit more stability. I felt the shoes lacked a bit of stability at times in my earlier tests, even on flat runnable stuff, and that's a bit of a worry. But I want to see if the Metafuji is a shoe that an averagely capable trail runner like me can use when things get more challenging. So watch this space. So a few other bits then. I will take a couple of buffs. One I'll wear, one I'll keep dry in my pack. I'll swap them over if needed. I've got a pair of gloves, and I'm going to take these Innovate glove mittens, the gloves that have an outer mitten as well. I've got a head torch, spare batteries, which is obligatory kit, a base plate compass, a 300ml mug. I have to take £20 in cash, a foil survival bag, which is different to a blanket. I need to buy one of those, and a small first aid kit. Oh, and I will be using 2-Tom Sportshield on all of my soft and sensitive bits to keep the chafe away as well. When it comes to the tech, we have to have a fully charged phone on us, but then I will also have 3 watches. I'm going to take the Garmin Enduro 3, the Garmin Phoenix 8 and the Garmin Enduro 2 paired to a H10 chest strap. The Garmin watch test continues for our upcoming reviews of these watches. This is a great chance to test not only the battery life, the GPS and the heart rate accuracy, but despite the 5 valleys being fully waymarked, it's also a good opportunity to compare the mapping, route following and all those Climb Pro features. Headphones, this feels like a great test environment for the Shokz OpenRun Pro 2. We've got a review of that on the channel already. But I'm going to want to feel connected to the environment around, but also I'll likely need some tunes to keep me going over the time. The conditions should give the durability and the IP55 sweat proofing a thorough examination of these, and we'll get to see how that 12-hour battery life claim lives up to some continuous use. Plus I'm thinking this neckband ear hook design is going to give me that comfort of knowing that I won't end up watching my earbuds pop out and fly down the hills ahead of me if things get really steep and fast on the descent. So these feel like a good fit for a race like this. So there you have it. That's a quick whistle stop of my kit list for the 5 Valleys Ultra. Hopefully it's a helpful window into not only the whole kit that you might need to tackle a day-long Ultra, but also some of the specific items and products that I've tried and tested and rate, plus a few that you'll also get to see reviews of on the channel soon, which I'll be testing out there. As ever, thanks very much for watching. If you liked it, enjoyed it, you fancy seeing more, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you're running the valleys, come and say hi to me up there. It'd be a pleasure to meet you on race day. Otherwise, I'm off to pack. And until next time, happy running, people.